Good morning. I was headed for my white bin this morning, and all of a sudden I got taken with a vision of pink, and I thought, my muse just gave me a little in my head and said, no, Carol, pink. And one night to fight her muse, I got out some things. I immediately thought of these wonderful freebies that Artymaze shared with her group members, and I said, these are going to be the basis of whatever I do. So these are just three of the many that were in the collection that we have, and these, well, this is the kind of background paper that you just long to have. I have to admit, my roses are not as rosy as hers because my printer was running out of magenta and it kept it a little secret for a little bit too long. But I still do like the color of that, the shade of that pink, and I love more than anything. Artymaze's Andrea is a polka dot girl, and so am I. So that polka dot paper pushed me right over the edge. Have to have it. So I took a little bit of time cutting out some of the lovely ephemera included, and I took this one and this one and these two tags, which have fitted tucks that go with them, and the basis of something. After this, nothing's happening in my head. We're going to explore together. So given this as the heart and soul of my little pink flurry today. Oh, before I go on with this stuff, I have a bit of a quandary. Let me get the other one down. Right up here in front of me on the shelf, right up over my head, are the papers from the Commonplace glue book that were extras, and I've already used them, and I just value these papers so much because of the quality. Actually, I'm a person who values them more than the glue book papers that we often use. If I had my choice, I'll choose these because of the quality of the paper. So there's that up there, and then there's this that I haven't dealt with for quite a while. This was an old needlepoint book, probably Vanity Press. I can't imagine anyone would pay all this money to have it printed on one side only, on this absolutely heavy, gorgeous, beyond beautiful paper. A treasure. And in general, the February issue of the American Needlepoint Guild magazine, I finally retired from my Needlepoint Guild group up in Fernandina Beach, which is about 30 miles north of us, towards the Georgia border, and being a member, because it was time. It took me about 3 or 4 years to mull over that, but I finally did it because there are just not that many hours in the day to do the kind of projects and have the time and I would have to be willing to take quite a bit of time away from my arting, and I waited a long time to start my arting, and I did. It was my 70th birthday bucket list, and it was the best thing I've ever done for myself. I have been there, done that 1,000 times with all of these things, so needs must. I made a life decision, and I'm happy that I did it. And this was the last magazine, but here again, lovely paper, lovely size, can be cut down. So, those are the 3 questions about the paper. And you can see that I have a goodly supply. These are definites. These are definites. I don't know how many of them are, but they are definites for today. I then went into my drawer and found this just, I don't know why, it must have come out of something, lying on the, this has some reverse collage on it. The reverse collage that I'm going to be doing with my Facebook group. This, let me get close so that you can see the painting out that was done here and here. Do you see that? The acrylic paint. In other words, in reverse collage, you keep what you want and cover the rest. This was just lying there, and this was just lying there also, right on top. Now, when a girl is thinking pink and pulls out her drawer in her stack and sees these 2 things, well, what more can I say? These 2 papers are from mine, and I thought, well, they might be a possibility, but not today. Today, Artymaze galore. And I pulled out this bag when I was having a cleaning toot a few months ago. I went into each of the drawers and pulled out all of the goodies that said pink to me. And at least now they're in an envelope so that I know where they are and they make some sense. Okay, now I know what you are too. Let's not hide. I've had this for ages. I've been loving it and babying it. And that simply has to be used. But much loved. Oh, look at this. A little of these. Just some stuff. That, just some stuff that might work well with this particular shade of pink that I have because I didn't have enough magenta ink. But those things do happen. Yes, they do, whether you need them or not. Look at this rose and a little pink bow. That is not a new one. No gifted stickers, yes. Those are not a million years old, but they're not brand new. But look, possible, a possibility, a definite one. Okay, and what else? Too much life in those for this purpose. That might work. Keep it in mind to remind me. Oh. I cut that, fussy cut that out a while ago and didn't use it. Here. Some of my copies of some of my paintings. Maybe still a little too much on the bright side. Another copy of my doodling. Could be. And so on. And so on. And some napkins from Europe. Okay. Let's just tuck this back, but leave this on top. Into the out of harm's way spot. And then I went into my, I hear my husband trying to be very quiet, but I am able to read his mind. I think he wants to say something to me. I can feel it through the wall from the garage. I'll be right back. I have ears that can practically hear a dog whistle, and it hasn't faded as I aged. And yes, he was at the door, and what he was doing was alcoholing the doorknobs because that's what he thinks he needs to do, I guess, to keep us well and healthy, and that's fine. So I was right, and sometimes I wish my ears would calm down as I get old. Okay, let's look at some. Oh, I haven't got many painted pink papers left. Ooh, used to have a lot more. Used to have a lot more. That is Glimmer Mist sprayed on a book page. That might work. Nope. Okay, more book page. Some left over. That might work. No. Oh my. Oh my. Back you go. Okay. Now we know what we're going to work on today. We'll have to just put these aside until I get back to doing my pink, because I think the pink is becoming the same thing to me that the white was. I feel it. I just do. Look at that. Isn't that just calling for Andrea's papers? Oh, yes. Now, one thing that has to go is this bit. Don't like it at all. Don't like it at all. That decision was made for me. How nice. If you're able to hear some airplanes overhead, one of the trade-offs of living out in the so-called country around a huge city like Jacksonville is that there is a naval practice base here nearby that every few months, well, you're really mucking this job up, Carol. Pay attention. Oh, my Lord. And periodically, maybe every 2 or 3 times a year for a few days, they practice as though they're, to get their certifications, they practice as though they're flying on and off aircraft carriers. And if it gets too obnoxious, I'll turn us off, but right now, I want to visit and play. So, okay, mission accomplished. Now, next time for you. Oh, Lord, you can tell the quality of these papers. They are so heavy. Now, we're going to think this. Do you believe I did that? Yes, I did. I did it all by myself. We're going to have to fix that little mess right up. Aren't we just? Something needs to be inside. I'd love to put something inside of the envelopes. Rather than use one of these radical pretties, why don't we just have some of that in there? Yes, shan't we just have that in there? I'm going to take edge off there so that it is a straight line. I guess OCD time. Which, since I've discovered junk journaling, is way beaten down. Now, let's just have that much. So it'll go in a little bit. And we'll just go up here because I can always trim it down. And let's do this one. I do hope that those of you who are separating are coping. I hope that we are all getting used to it at least. And won't we be enjoying it when it's over? Are you going to fit in here the way I want you to? I think you might just. I think you might just. Well, yes. And let's have a goodly bit. Glue stick, because I think that will serve the purpose. And inside a little bit. I have to do some more dyeing, and I do like to color papers. I do not like to coffee dye and tea dye papers. I'm probably going to try one more time and see if we have a miracle, because I think that's what it will take to make me like that process. Why I don't, with all of the things, the incredibly tedious and tricky business that I've been through in one lifetime of arting, and why tea and coffee dyeing stopped me, I have no idea. Well, maybe part of it is I'm not a coffee drinker. Maybe the tea, I ought to try the tea bit. I have to admit I didn't do tea dyeing. I did coffee. I'm not a coffee girl. If push came to shove and it was my last gasp and that was what was going to keep me alive, I would drink coffee, but that would take that. Don't like it. Don't like the strength of the flavor. I don't know what I don't like about it. And the strange craziness is, in our home I was raised, when I was allowed to be old enough to drink it, we had tea in the English fashion of milk and sugar. And yet, if I have to do, I remember once when I was teaching, for some reason or another, it was an emergency situation, and I needed liquid, maybe to take, to take an aspirin with, I don't know. But I was given it black. And actually, if I had to drink coffee, I think I prefer it that way. There's something about that cream and sugar in it that puts me off. Now, this is too much information, too boring, and I will now be quiet. But that's what happens, I guess, when one is trying to line an envelope lid. Really? There. Okay. It also gives it a little more oomph. Now, do we want to I'm thinking collage. 'Cause I like that color. I want some of it to show. I don't want to lose it by turning it into a, although I love it this way. If you can see, there are very pale pink roses in that background. Of course, I don't have them because I didn't have magenta. What to do? What to do? I want it all. I do want it all. Yes, I like that. Or do we want it this way? At the back with the design, and then the front open for playtime. And with using these for background collage before the play starts. I wish I could make up my mind. It's one of those days. Okay, decision made. Background being covered with this pretty design. And then I'll be back. This is definitely housekeeping, and you don't need to hear me babbling at you when I can get this done, and you can see the finished in a few minutes. Well, I'm all at 6s and 7s again. When I was doing my housekeeping, I looked at this piece of paper, and I love it so much that I couldn't resist turning it into the front of this envelope. Front and flap of this envelope. There's something about this that tickles me with just that little tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue in here that we must remember when we start to play. The blue is definitely there. Let me show it to you. Do you see it? So let's not forget. Let's not forget. And then I went scrambling, and I found this. This is 17th century paper from, I believe, Rachel at Roxy Creations, and I am going to have a little bit of that there. And then I found her. And this is from a 17th century book with all the original foxing. This is 17th century mold. And vellum. And just sitting there waiting for the day. Waiting for the day. So, doesn't this look lovely back there? Maybe she needs to be up here a little bit. I don't know. And then there was one other thing that I decided that I absolutely had to have, and I knew I have it, but I can't put my hand on it, but as luck would have it, I was wallowing in this, in my never-ending trove that is at hand at all times. These are copies of things that I had done in the past, and didn't I just turn up, well, those. Could they be any better? Okay, that's not what I was after. Control yourself, Carol. Okay, that's what I wanted. I knew that somewhere I had made copies of very, 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 very old music, and when it came out of the printer, it turned this color instead of the usual. And I just said, I'm going to have some of this if I have to ransack this whole studio. Well, I didn't have to go too far. So we have this, and now we have her, and we have the music. Writing. Okay. I think I'm going to really and seriously have to have a think. I don't know which side we should do first. I think a smart girl would do everything she needed to do on the front when it's deliciously flat. Another question, does it need a little bit of distressing? Maybe it does, only because of that. Maybe it does. Okay, before I stop for lunch, I'm going to give this a little touch here. Do I want tea dye? A little too yellow. Gathered twigs, a little too green. How about tiniest bit of walnut stain? Love this color. If you're not acquainted with it, it's a nice one. Oh yes. Something about this color I think I like as much as Vintage Photo. Now, I might not have done any of this distressing if I had decided to go with a more, contemporary type. But something happened with this envelope, and I love this old rosy type doings here. Let me get some in here. Always add a little more as needed. And of course, just a little bit along there, and a little more here, and here, and just a little bit here. That's better. That's better. Now, I'm not going to think it's worth the doing to turn this the other way. Let's just see if it works without ruining that beautiful crease on the front. Okay. I have to start to see this in my mind's eye. And the best time to do that is when I'm having something to eat. Oh, I wish you could tell me. But I shall just have to ponder in the quiet of lunch, my chair, and probably a video. I'll be back as soon as something makes sense here. Goodness, I forgot to turn on the camera, and I apologize. And now I have to stop again because I have to chase down my my drink of water and my glasses. I apologize.